Welcome back to the ESPN Esports studio. I'm Darren Kwilinski. Griffin has swooped out of nowhere and perched itself atop the LCK. Or have they? Strength of schedule can say a lot about a team, but so can momentum. Griffin hasn't exactly had the toughest competition. We're going to bring our two experts, Emily Rand and Tyler Erzberger, to figure out if Griffin is for real. Emily, let's kick it off with you. And Tyler, feel free to respond. Let's get a dialogue going. But let's talk competition and momentum first. Griffin is 6-1 overall, 5-0 against teams in the bottom half of the LCK, but 1-1 against teams in the top half. Do you think momentum can carry this team, or is it going to be the hot start that does it?
I actually don't think it's momentum. I think that at this point, Griffin are looking like the real deal. Where I think their schedule really helped them out is, unlike a lot of other new teams that came in and would have had to play like tougher opponents initially, Griffin could kind of ease into the LCK. They got used to how to play before they had to play tougher opponents in week 3. And I think that really helped them because they definitely solidified the kind of play style they wanted to do, which is super important in this meta. And after this past week, I'm actually a lot higher on them than I was previously.
A lot higher, but you still have Kingzone, the team that they 2-0'd over them in the power rankings. I agree. I think the early schedule was a good start. They got to beat up on the worst, like Jin Air and BBQ.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, it's easy. It's good to ramp up. And I think KT did show that they still have weaknesses. Score punks Tarzan in the early game, as he should, because Score is the best jungler in the league. But I still think that you're a little bit underrating Griffin. I think Griffin's ceiling might be the highest out of any team in the league. I think they're 5-as-1 mindset, and they have no weak links. I think in this meta right now, having no weak links is a good thing, and they can play around any part of the map. Sword can carry, Tarzan can carry, Chovy can carry, Viper, as shown by any of his games, can carry on anything, and Lehens, I mean, he can pull out Singe, Elise, whatever.
Bring back the Elise support. No,
he can play
actually don't.
He can play anything. This team is versatile, and they have a ceiling that is unmatched about any team in the league.
The thing with Griffin to me is that they're still a bit unproven. And again, KT exposed a few weaknesses, obviously in the early game. Another thing is that with their 5v5 fighting, I think KT also showed a really good approach to how to kind of separate those fights into 2 separate skirmishes with Smub's Kennen. So I'm looking forward to seeing how other teams approach them, but I also do think like there's no possible way now that the teams don't take this team seriously, and people really should be looking at Griffin as a top team in the LCK.
Personally, I think they're winning it all. I have predicted the last 2 LCK finals before the season even started. People laughed at me when I said Longzhu would make finals last year. They did and won. People laughed at me when I said Afrika was gonna win LCK last year.
They shouldn't have laughed you for that, because Afrika showed an upward trajectory. But
and they made the final. This year, before the season even started, I predicted a final of KT Rolster versus Griffin, with Griffin winning. And I'm sticking to it. Griffin will beat KT in the finals.
I'm more surprised you think KT are going to make the finals as a KT Rolster fan. I dunk on them all the time. No, I think for Griffin, I think it's really going to depend on who they face, just because they do have some bad matchups and against certain teams, and then they have some good matchups. I think for Griffin making to Worlds, my sticking point is the fact that they weren't around in spring, right? So when you look at them in a gauntlet setting, I'm not sure how they do, because you do have teams like, for example, Gen G, which has performed very well in the past 2 gauntlets. And I mean, people laugh, but like you can sort of never count SKT out. If anyone's gonna drag a team through gauntlet single-handedly, it's probably gonna be Faker. But I mean, I think there are other teams that could trip them up in a gauntlet setting, because that's a very brutal way of making it. And I don't have the confidence that they can win Summer.
Camera 1, come here. I'm calling it now. LeBron's a Laker. Anything is possible. Anything is possible now. Anything. Kawhi Leonard might be a Laker. Anyone might be a Laker. By this time next week, the whole world might be a Laker. Griffin's gonna make Worlds. They're gonna win Worlds. I'm calling it now. I'm calling my shot right now. You can roll this tape back in a few months when Griffin wins Worlds. The final will be Griffin versus Afrika Freaks at the Seoul Stadium in South Korea. It's going to be amazing. I'll be standing out there watching Griffin hoist the cup into the air, and it will be the most beautiful sight we've ever seen, the greatest story in League of Legends history.
That
Be a sick
is
story.
That would make a fantastic story. I do not disagree or agree. I'm just here to facilitate the conversation. Heck of a prediction, though, Tyler. Emily, you guys, thank you for joining us. And for more League of Legends coverage, keep it locked right here on ESPN.com/esports.